Good morning, how you doing? It is the 29th of April 2020. Yeah, I had to think what year it was then. I was lost in the days and the weeks. What do you think to the new Gator? Pretty sick, huh? It's styled on a certain blockchain. And Dale came up with the design styles for this, which I think are absolutely sick. And perfect for going to the store. It's got the whole open source logo on there, looking pretty sick. They're actually really long, like that long. Like, look how long these things are. They're so sick, and they're really tight as well, which makes all the difference. You can grab one from over on Hiveline, which is hiveline.card.co. There's 6 designs. I like them all. I think Dale's got the first one, the Hiveable. I definitely would buy all the other 5. I think the probably would have the purple one as well. I'm probably not into Glitch Hive, even though I like the design. I think the design style is cool. I would definitely have the other 5. It's a shame we can't buy all 5 in one go, but you can't do that. And if you click on these, you can see, you can jump through. Dale's done a really good job of like the layout. There's like graphics at the top and the side. I'm just downloading a big file right now, so that's why it's not coming up. Want to quickly talk about a few things that I've seen in the cryptoverse, and also just money and Corona and just people being at home and isolated, which really stood out to me, and I kind of wanted to make a video about it. Pavel Matvey, I'm probably pronounced his name wrong, I do apologize. Roughly 31% of the world's population remain without a bank account, reflecting the huge differences in access around the world. Can digital assets and cryptocurrency such as Nano help solve this issue? I don't know a lot about Nano, but I do know about Wirex. It was one of the very first cards that I applied for because it had the ability to store different cryptos in there. And then the whole situation happened with all the crypto cards getting not banned, but like shut down early on. It was some kind of Gibraltar company, I forget the name of it now, but they were issuing crypto cards for companies because they saw this massive explosion in Bitcoin, and they thought everybody was going to be spending Bitcoin or storing Bitcoin, and they got all their cards pulled. So Wirex is one of the very first ones I used. I've gone on to use other ones like Monzo and oh god, I can't remember. There's so many different Revolut. There's so many little startup banks right now. Wirex does the best job, I think, of storing cryptocurrency and fiat assets in one. You can sort of exchange and move them around. But that number, to me, signifies we're hitting it like a crossroads. We're very much like a Castaway moment. You know, at the end of Castaway, the film with Tom Hanks, he's at the crossroads and he looks down the road and he sees the design, the emblem that was on the package that he'd sat with. He was a postal worker and he took his job incredibly to heart, and he was determined to deliver that package. And so he was at this crossroads of his life, and he looked down the road after this truck went around a corner and it had the logo on it, and he went to the house and gave her the package and told the whole story. And it was just a really interesting movie about like picking a road to travel down and going down it. And I believe we're coming to that crossroads when it comes to money and digital currency, and especially the unbanked. If you can now get an account, not a bank, but an account, so that you are banked in some way, the bank of you, to be able to store value of things that you've earned from digital communities, from fiat currency, just this amalgamation of personal assets. I think we're hitting that perfect explosion of those things to happen. We've got the halving coming up. That's probably going to bump the price up of Bitcoin, or at least that's the hope. Hopefully it doesn't go the other way. But it's a finite amount of Bitcoin. It's 21 million Bitcoin. There'll only ever be that many. Therefore, there's no like stupid inflation, or they're just a government's going to pump it up, which devalues the currency. It's this finite amount of stuff, which means it's a currency that will go up and down in price, but it won't have the same volatility as like the US dollar, for instance, or at least that's how I visualize it. So I think there's a lot of work for us to do being isolated at home about the unbanked, and I absolutely truly believe that digital currencies will be the next big thing. in terms of people having access to value or a store of value. And then we see a little post this morning, which they're kind of using coronavirus as their headline for it. But this notion of coronavirus will hasten the decline of cash. And it could have been a pandemic, it could have been a virus, but actually what's hastening the decline of cash is access, right? People have access to it on their phones, through startup banking, through digital currency. The people who are educated or educating themselves how to use this stuff are going out and using it. But like, obviously the mainstream media needs an out, so they're going to use the virus for it. Coronavirus will hasten the decline in the use of cash as people make a long-term switch to digital payments. The lockdown has led to a 60% fall in the number of withdrawals from cash machines, although people are taking out larger sums. So obviously people are having that store of cash, so they've got cash on them. But also, nobody wants to touch paper, right? So at some point, we're going to start to realize that this isolation, this pandemic, has made us really, really look at what are effective means of transfer and exchange. And I'm sure all of these little stores, Shopify stores, and like, I know there's beer companies out there that are killing it right now in terms of home deliveries, like the Pub in a Box. They're all seeing an explosion in money and traffic and new customers for the first time, because they can just go online, click on a button and have it delivered. And I think this also cements a pathway for autonomous delivery, because that was always kind of gimmicky and the cars looked too concepty, and who gives a shit about, like, oh, I don't want those on the road. Well, if there's nothing else on the road because we're all isolated, or we're not going to our jobs as much because we now realize that actually digital and fiber and internet, we can work remotely, we can run a business remotely. Heck, we can run a business while we sleep. A lot of people are probably never going to go back to commuting again. They're probably never going to go into a office again, which has a massive big impact on property and business in general, high streets, and who knows how that's going to change. But I thought it was interesting today that it came up with this. This could leave an estimated 20% of the population who rely on cash. They say the long-term future of cash could be at risk. I don't think that's the bad thing. I mean, like, cash money is crazy, right? I know certain places will never change and that's what they've always used, but at some point you have to realize that people want efficiency, especially in times like this. You know, I can't go onto a delivery service right now and get a delivery for the next two weeks because it's rammed. They've even put more vans on from 6 a.m. in the morning till 11 p.m. at night, and you still can't get a delivery. So it just shows you where the inefficiencies in the systems work. And to be honest, using crypto for the last 3 years, it's an incredibly efficient system. It works really well. There's no middleman. It's between you and the end result. There's maths in the middle and there's calculation going on, but it's all mathematically backed and it's fully trackable. Another thing I wanted to bring up today, and it's the reason why I did this video, is Corona's not slowing down. Like, I know we're seeing people say, oh no, don't worry, by April it'll be gone, and we're opening up this and we're opening up that. I understand people are bored and frustrated and fed up, and they want to get out, and they feel trapped and they feel like the government's lying to them. But these stats to me don't show us that we've reached a peak yet. They don't show that we're like leveling out and going down the other side. Yes, okay, I'm seeing stats of saying, oh, well, we've done nearly 5 million tests, but we have 3 million people confirmed with it, and 1 million of those in the US. The deaths kind of slowed down, thankfully, in Italy, but we've got like massive load of deaths in New York. We've got a massive load of deaths in Belgium. I mean, I don't see it slowing down. I mean, you go over to the coronavirus on the UK stuff, and you're still seeing like 586 people a day who are dying. Now, admittedly, they have released some additional stats. How they publish those stats by DHSC and ONS, because there's a big kind of uproar at the moment of like, are we properly announcing the amount of deaths in old people's homes, and are they correlated to COVID? And so the numbers for deaths at this point, this time of year, have literally gone through the roof, and it's probably because of coronavirus. So I don't feel like it's time to even think about opening things up. I mean, we don't even have a vaccine yet, a totally untested vaccine. I'm not interested in version 1 of any vaccine. Like, unless you've got some real need to be out there, or maybe get back to your friends and families on the other side of the world, maybe you take a vaccine then so that you can get access, or that so-called passport of like, I'm immune, which I think is crazy, because you might be immune when you had the test, but then you go in the airport with loads of other people and get on a plane with loads of other people. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we're a long, long way away from having the world opened up again. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'd love to get some feedback. But so we've kind of got this like interesting line coming up where all of these things are kind of dovetailing together, and I think crypto's going to have to become front and center because it works. It's been working. Yes, there is some issues with it in terms of who's using it. Probably for governments, they don't like the fact that they don't control it. But there is an incredible amount of usefulness with this. Imagine if you did like an airdrop for every citizen in your country to have all of your like rent and bills and stuff paid for the next 3 to 6 months while we're in isolation, so that all the property owners, all the businesses, we can just adapt to this without having the stress and worry of when am I going to be able to go to work, back to work. And you don't need a bank account. You can download lots of different wallets, and you can just register those wallet addresses with your government's website with the airdrop. They could even kind of position themselves in a really interesting place, because Bitcoin's the kind of granddaddy of cryptocurrency. But imagine if the UK came out with this like UK coin, and everybody who's a UK citizen just had to go to their Gov website, put in the wallet address, and they were airdropped some UK coin for the month. Now they could either keep it, invest it, or share it around, or invest it in other businesses in the high street. You don't even look at that guy who's like 99 years of age, and you raise what, 25 million for the NHS. Are you telling me that we can't spread and diversify the notion of money around? We've got to get over these class structures of low-income families and middle class and high society. Like, it's all still wealth in some ways. Some people have got more than others and want to hold on to it, and yet we have this stupidity that those people at the bottom end who are struggling end up costing us more to make sure that we can kind of help them out, so where a lot of the times they want to help themselves. Like, there's times where I wanted to help myself at different parts of my journey. So anyway, I'm rattling on. Don't go out just yet. Buy one of these, get an N95 insert for it to protect you, and I will catch up with you soon. Take it easy. Bye.